There's 4 getting a full charge out of the battery.
He's working on my battery.
Never used. We're looking
I know. So your battery, I charged it today. We have this program where we have been providing eggs and the life support systems to the various schools that our member Dave just mentioned, and it's generally elementary school kids that will see the eggs become little tiny fish in the tank, and at the end of the school year, kids from the class will get like a little glass with a few fish in it and take them down to the river and let them go. So it's seeing the whole process.
For instance, last year I think I put 26 fish back into the Lehigh River out of maybe about...
It's a migratory fish which ranges between 18 and 24 inches and between 2 and 9 pounds. So it's a fisherman's delight.
We need to have more grant money assigned to the Delaware River Basin. As far as we know, it's the only major river basin in the country that has not received any federal funding for restoration of anadromous fish. They can say that within 5 years after their removal, they can expect a run of 500,000 spawning shad in the Lehigh itself. Dams actually preclude and prevent shad restoration. It's the greatest single factor defeating restoration efforts.
And the fish ladders, they're not helping?
The fish ladders, shad are like white men. They can't jump. So when you have these convoluted fishways, first of all, some of them, and I've witnessed this by sitting down by the windows at some of these fish ladders, they go up, and some of them, albeit a small percentage, come back down. They are not efficient fish passage ways to the spawning grounds. In fact, every fish ladder that's been installed on the Lehigh has been a bust.
Better do you have to worry about that noisy background over there?
Oh, I don't think you have to worry.
I think it's a case-by-case issue. I think the dams on the Bushkill are really good candidates for removal because there's a liability, there's a danger factor. They're not really doing anything in terms of flood control. They are preventing fish from moving up the river if we remove them. One other issue that we haven't talked about is the potential for contamination in the sediment. So I think on the Bushkill, that's not that much of a concern. We haven't found a lot of soft silt and clay and sediment behind the dams that we've looked at. So that seems to be less of a concern. It's really cases where there are alternate uses or you're choosing between goods, whether you want a hydropower or you want fish, and so those can be more complex. There are going to be people who sort of in their lifetimes and probably their parents' lifetimes have always had the dam there, and they kind of like their world that way, and perhaps they use it as a swimming hole when it gets hot or a place to hang out and fish. So there are always going to be some people who don't want the dam removed.
Bob will probably carry that. I'll see if you have any raffles.
Used to harvest the eggs from the shad. They killed the fish to get the eggs.
So that's, because once again, these fish are this big. And the space they're going through is like this, and this water is rushing down, and they got all these little things coming out, to give them a place to rest. But then they got to get back around, and I think it's got to be rubbing the scales off.
Oh, yeah.